Hello everyone, and welcome to another lesson of OnShape for beginners. Today we're going to be making a battle top, kind of like Beyblades, except you don't have that whole rip mechanism. You basically just spin it like a regular top and try and knock each other's tops over. So we're going to click this blue create button and make another document. I'm going to name it battle top. So we're going to start with a very simple circle. Click on that top plane, click sketch and type N so that we're looking right at it. And then make a circle right like that. And we want this circle to be 60 millimeters in diameter. There we go. And then we're going to extrude this circle 10 millimeters because in our rules for battle tops, your top can't be more than 10 millimeters tall. So that's why we're making this 10 millimeters tall. So the next thing we're going to do is add your attack features to this top. It doesn't look like a top yet, but it will quite soon. Any good Beyblade has blades coming out the sides of it so that they can attack other tops and knock them over. So we're going to make those too. Click on that top surface, type N to look right at it, and click sketch. So we're going to use something called construction geometry for this. Basically, it's something that you sketch, be it a line or a box or a circle, that you can see and look at and use, but it won't actually make anything solid if you try to extrude it. So it's just kind of helpful, and it's almost like you erase it at the end before you extrude something. So we're going to do that with a circle. So click circle and construction, click that center point, drag it out. And the rules for our tops is that you can't have an outer diameter, or OD, bigger than 70 millimeters. So we're going to say 70 millimeters. And this is kind of like our bounding circle. So you can't make anything outside of this circle if you want it to be a legal battle top per our rules. So now that I have that, I'm going to unclick construction because I don't want anything else to be a construction line. I'm going to make another line. And let's see, maybe I want my spikes to look something like that. Actually, I'll probably make them symmetrical so that it doesn't matter which way I spin the top. We'll Control Z to get rid of that line. And we'll do a spike like that. And escape, make another line. Or we could actually mirror this. So I'm going to click mirror, click that mirror line, and there we go. And the last thing we need to do is use this tool, which is called use or project or convert. Basically, if there's anything that's a solid object that's already here, I can use its lines, like its outside diameter or something like that, as another part of my sketch. So it's like I'm tracing this line with a pencil, the whole outside of the circle. So I'm going to click that. And now that circle is in my sketch. I only want this small section of it so that it can finish off my spike here, but I can get rid of the rest by trimming it. So I trim that there, and the rest of my circle is gone, and this is now completely filled in, just like I want it to be. So obviously I don't just want one spike, and it'd be really annoying to have to make this spike over and over and over again, and it'd be difficult to make it evenly spaced and everything like that. So instead, we can use circular pattern. So that's this tool up here. This says linear pattern. Click the drop down and choose circular pattern. And then click the things you want to pattern, which are your 3 lines that make up your spike. Right here it says how many you're going to have. So we have 1, 2, 3 right now. I want more than that. Let's see what 8 would look like. Pretty cool. Let's see what 10 would look like. All right. Let's see what 6 would look like. So you can see it's really easy to change it. So you just double click how many there are, and you can add or subtract them. So I'm going to go with 10 because I want a lot of spikes on my top here. So when I'm done with that, I just left click, as you can see on the mouse icon, left click, and that will confirm it. And there we go. There are our spikes. So green check mark, and click sketch 2. That's what all our spikes are in, and extrude. Now it's going to try to extrude it away from the rest of your top. You want it to go the other direction, so click this arrow to switch directions, and then make it 10 millimeters just like your last one. And green check mark, and there we go. So that's kind of the attack features, and you can make these look like anything you want. They don't have to be symmetrical spikes. They can be really long blade-looking things that stick out. But you can make them look like anything you want. So the next thing we want to do is add the spinner part of the top, what you use to grab with your hands and spin the top to go fast. So we're going to use a revolve for that. We are on the top plane right now. I want the front plane. I'm going to click sketch and type N to look right at it. And I think I want this to look something like this. Click up top, click down into the part like this, over and up. So I'm going to dimension some of these things. Dimension this to be 40 millimeters. So not super tall. Actually, let's make that 45. And then dimension this to be, say, 12 millimeters. And there we go. Super simple. Green check mark. And I'm going to revolve this. So click the revolve tool. Click the face I want to revolve. And then click this red box. It's going to choose my revolve axis. And click that axis. And there we go. Green check mark. And let's see if I can round out this top point here. Don't think it's going to let me. And I don't really want it all pointy like this. So I think I am going to get rid of this fillet, go back into my sketch, double click, and change the way that I made this. So type N, click the scissors for trim, get rid of this line, and let's make another line that goes up but doesn't quite touch the next one, like this. And then I'm going to use my arc tool, 3-point arc, click one point, the other point, and then just pretty much drag it anywhere you want. Obviously that looks really bad. It's not going to give us a nice smooth corner that we need. So I'm going to use the tangent tool and make this tangent to that. And there we go. And then the next thing I need to do is make another construction line, just like we were talking about before, off of this point that goes horizontal like that. Click escape, and then I need to make it once again tangent to that line. So there we go. And I think this might actually be a little bit fat at the bottom there, so I'm going to click escape. Let's make that 8 millimeters. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. Green check mark, and there we go. That's what you're going to grab to spin the top. So we're pretty close to done on the top here. We need to make a point that's going to go on the end here. But this is also going to be 3D printed. And if you're going to have a point that goes off the bottom, then it's going to be really tough to print the rest of this top because it's going to be kind of hanging in thin air. So instead, we're going to model the point separately as its own different part and make a hole for it in the upper portion of our top. So click this bottom surface, type N to look right at it, and click sketch. This is going to be super simple. We just make a circle right in the middle that is exactly 10 millimeters in diameter. Green check mark. And I'm going to extrude this like we have with a bunch of other things. And I don't want to extrude it out. I want to extrude cut and make it a hole. I'm going to make this 8 millimeters deep so it doesn't go all the way through the top. And there we go. That's the top right there. The next thing I want to do is make the point that's going to go on the end of this top. So click this plus sign down here to make a new tab and create part studio. Now, so that I can keep everything straight, I'm going to rename some of these parts. So this is obviously the point that's going to go on the top, so I'm going to rename it point. And this is the top part of the top, so we will name it top upper. All right, let's go back to this point. This is going to be a super simple revolve. So I'm going to click on the front plane, type N so I'm looking right at it, and click sketch. We're going to grab the line tool, go directly above my origin here, origin being this center point. Click on the origin, go horizontal, up at an angle, up at another angle, but not so that we connect with this point here. So escape. And now I'm going to use my 3-point arc to click one point, click the other, and drag until I get the tangency symbol. You can see that little symbol in black and white with that orange line. That tells me that my curve is tangent to this line. It's coming straight off the end of it and then curving. And then I want this top tangent to a horizontal line as well. So I'm going to do the same trick as last time where I click line and construction, grab that point, drag out to the side, use the tangency call out here. So tangent, grab the line, grab the arc, and there we go. Now, this is not at all the dimensions I want for my point, so I'm going to call those out here as well. I want this to be 4.8 millimeters. I want this to be 5.1 millimeters, and not at that original angle it was saying, so straight down here, 5.1. And then I want this height to be 8 millimeters. And I want this height to be 20 millimeters. Now this radius is not at all going to work for what I want, so let's make that a radius of just 1 millimeter. There we go, and that is the shape we need for this point. So green check mark. I'm going to middle click on that mouse roller so I can orbit, make sure I have what I want here. Click revolve, click the face I want to revolve, click this revolve axis box, and click on the axis that I'm going to revolve around. And there we go, green check mark. That is the point right there. All right, next thing we're going to make is an arena so that these tops can not go all over the table but keep fighting each other. So I'm going to make a new part studio. And this is also going to be a very simple one. We're just going to do another revolve. So click that front plane, type N so you're looking right at it, and click sketch. And for this one, we're going to use a different kind of arc or a different kind of curve. We've been using the 3-point arc and the center point arc quite a bit. We're going to use conic now. So you're going to click on that conic arc tool and then click on your origin again and click anywhere above this x-axis. And you can see with a conic curve, I can change the curvature based on where I put this point. I want to put this point anywhere above the x-axis right here and below this point. So I'm going to go just right about there. And this 0.5, that just basically changes the overall curvature of the line. You can just leave it at 0.5. Don't really need to understand that as of right now. Now, if we want to make this arena so that it is actually 3D printable, we have to make it small enough that it'll fit on a 3D printing bed. Most 3D printers can print at least 256 millimeters by 256 millimeters. So we're going to make this just 230 millimeters in diameter so that it'll fit on just about any print bed. So in order to do that, let's finish up the outline here. So grab this top point, drag down below your x-axis, horizontally over, and up back to your origin. All right, so in order to make this fit on a printer, I'm going to grab this line and make it 230 divided by 2, not 23, 230 divided by 2, because that's a radius. We're revolving this, so it's going to be this times 2. And then it doesn't have to be super tall. So we're going to make that just 2 millimeters tall at the center. And then we're going to play with how tall we want this to be. Let's see. Let's start with 15, see how that looks. And I can move my point on my conic curve here. Now I want it to be pretty flat in the middle so that the tops don't go directly to the middle, but they just go kind of close to the center so they can fight. And then I want it nice and curved up at the end, so if they get close to the edges, they'll quickly go back into the center. So if I'm going to move this row call out, let's drag this point until we have kind of what we're looking for there. We can even, we can make that horizontal with the origin. Let's go with that. Maybe I don't even want 15. Let's go with 10. See how that looks. Yeah, I like that. All right, so green check mark. I'm going to revolve this. So click on the surface I'm going to revolve. Click on this revolve axis box. And click on this axis right here, zooming in with that scrolly wheel. And then clicking that wheel to orbit and make sure that that's what I want. And that looks good to me. Green check mark. And I'm going to rename this one as well. So right click on this, rename. And we're going to name this Arena. There we go. Now we can print as is, but I think we can make this top even better. Right now, it's just completely solid in here. It doesn't look that cool. We can cut that out and add some like connecting spokes. That'll look much better. So click this top face, type N so you're looking right at it, and sketch. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this entire inside. So click the center point circle tool, grab that center point, and make 2 circles so that we're kind of cutting a donut out of the top here. So I'm going to use my dimension tool. I want this to be 50 millimeters in diameter. Oh, what's it yelling at me for? I think it's tangency. So if I click on this and click delete, then we're good. 50 millimeters. Click my dimension tool again, and I want this one to be 20 millimeters. There we go, green check mark. And I'm going to extrude cut that out. So if I click on my surface here, middle mouse click, and orbit, you can see that's adding material. I want to remove material, and there we go. That's going to remove that donut. Obviously, this will not work as a top, so we need to add spokes in the middle so that it'll connect the center point that you spin with to the attack features on the outside. So I'm going to click this top surface again, type N, and click Sketch. And I'm going to use the conic curve again because I think it looks cool. So I'm going to click right here, somewhere on the edge. Let's make it a curve, something like that. And let's make one more curve that goes way out like this. Yeah, something like that. And then I need to make sure this is actually closed off, so I have to use my project or use tool and get this circle and this circle and then cut everything away because that project tool made this entire circle a part of my sketch and I only want this little bit of it. So I'm going to cut the rest away. And same with this one, it made this entire circle a part of my sketch. I only want this little bit, so I'm going to cut the rest away. There we go. And now I'm going to extrude that area like we've done many times before. And I want to go the opposite direction. And we want this to be 10 millimeters thick. There we go. And that is only one spoke. We need multiple. So let's go back into the sketch, double click, and I can pattern this around this circle here. I'm going to type N again, so I'm looking right at it. And let's use the circular pattern tool. And I'm going to click the 4 parts that I want to circular pattern. And we can see it gives me an outline of what that's going to look like. I can change how many there are with this 3x. So if I double click on that, I can make that, let's see what 6 looks like. Kind of like that, but let's see what 4 looks like. Type in 4 and enter. And you can see it's really simple for us to change. So I think I might go with 5. Yeah, I kind of like that look. So green check mark. And you can see it did not extrude them all. That's because in this extrusion, we selected only that one area because that's all we had at the time. So instead, I'm going to X out of this so it's not a specific face we decided, but that entire sketch. And there, it's going to add all of those. And I want to add it to what we already have, merge with all. You don't need to know what that means right now if you don't want to. That just will make it so it adds it to your model. Green check mark. And there is our top. Now, if you don't like the attack features, that's super easy for us to change also. And we can even rename it so we can come back to it every time. So I'm going to name this attack features. There we go. Ooh, spacebar to unselect everything. And I'm going to double click that sketch. And then, that was the extrude that I did. So I'm going to double click the sketch that gives us that extrusion. Type N so I'm looking right at it. And I can make these wider or skinnier based on dragging them. So maybe I want really pointy ones. Go with that. Green check mark. And you can see it changes it. So you can get a bunch of different top profiles based on how you change all of your sketches. So yeah, that's it. Once you finish your top, send it to me and we can get it printed so that we can have some top battles. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next video.